they have the saying, they want you to step in for Erica Hill. And I'm like, huh? And I started going through this whole thing, but this is supposed to be my day, and I get to be honored and blah, 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 and can I just have fun? And then I realized that I was doing what women do a lot of times when they are suddenly presented with something that they were not expecting, and they can find all kinds of reasons why somebody else should be doing it, right? Somebody else might be better, right? Somebody else might have less obstacles and more time, right? And why me anyway? How many ladies, even if you're powerful and important, think that sometimes? You can raise your hand. Okay. If you are among those who don't always second guess yourselves, it's because you have grown and you have stood on the shoulders of powerful women and men, but definitely women who have come before you. When I was asked to stand in for Erica Hill, I remembered growing up wanting to be a journalist. I grew up in the 60s. There weren't many women journalists. There weren't women of color who were journalists. I decided that of the options that I had, which as far as I was told were limited, because I loved words, instead of being a teacher, I would be a journalist. But I didn't know how. I had parents who were incredible in terms of shielding me from the things of that time, because they grew up in a time where blacks, women were not going up a ladder. There wasn't the ladder. And my mother, despite her wishing to be an attorney, knew she couldn't be that. Because there were no roads, there were roadblocks. And my father, a decorated World War II veteran, was unable with the GI Bill to take advantage of home ownership and other things that GI, who like he, had served their country admirably, had received a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart, but when he came home, America was not as welcoming for soldiers like him. But they didn't spend a lot of time telling me that. They didn't spend a lot of time telling me what couldn't happen. And they urged my brother and I to get our education and to just dream dreams and go big and not to worry. Just do the right thing in the right way and the right thing will happen. I did turn out to be a journalist. Despite the fact that when I was very little, I didn't see people like me, or even women in general. Because of the environment, things changed. And because we're America, we got it. We got it in a way that said, we need to cover communities, we need to cover everybody, and sometimes it's just smarter to have the right people in positions in place so that we can get the news. That has gone to the extent where we are sitting in rooms where hundreds and hundreds of powerful women are here having made their mark, but still may have some doubt, still may have some fear, and may even forget that there are others that depend on you to be the new shoulders, the new ladders, the new voice, to make sure that the next generation is equally empowered and can go even higher. Now, you may have heard in the introduction that I am the first woman legislative leader in the history of New York State. In its over 200-year history, there has never been a woman leader. Just think, just this year, we were able to pass an equal pay for equal work amendment in 2015. Just think of the idea that here in New York, and my legislative colleague Shelley Mayer is there too, that the Assembly and the Senate finally managed to pass a law that said women should be paid equally as men. 2015. I've spent a lot of time trying to get my voice heard in the legislative process because women have been so unrepresented in the normal model of 3 men in a room. It's the majority leader, it's the governor, and it's the speaker usually. And because those titles have only been held by men, the budget is spoken about by 3 men in a room. The budget that should reflect the interest of every New Yorker. And by the way, over 50% of those New Yorkers are women. So, I started a campaign with the help of the Westchester Women's Agenda last year, the Pink Chair campaign. And we talked about getting a woman's perspective. And again, I have 26 members in my conference. We represent over 8 million New Yorkers, getting that perspective in the room. We weren't successful, but the way they started to do business in Albany began to change. Why? Because a woman raised her voice. I say this because women have to continue to raise your voice. Don't be comfortable. Don't be quiet. Don't think that because you've made some headway, there's nothing more to do. There are many, many glass ceilings to break, and there are many, many mountains yet to be climbed. But you can't assume that because you're climbing them, there aren't people who don't believe that they shouldn't be pulling the steps out from under you. So you have to be steadfast, you have to be strong, you have to be courageous, and you have to speak up and speak out. Because the people who came before me, my mother, and so many people's mothers here, who sacrificed so much in order to give their daughters and their granddaughters the next opportunity, are counting on us. I said, my mom couldn't be a lawyer. She wound up being a secretary in the Corporation Council in the city government of New York. She was the head steno and secretary, typing 100 words a minute. She couldn't get a job at a corporation, but government gave her the opportunity through the civil service process to show her skills and to grow and to succeed in that level. In government, I see my role as that. Move the barriers, create the level playing field, and make sure the next generation is able to continue to move up. And I also like to remember people who, but for people like the ones in this room, might not be considered as someone who has a chance and a dream. I get my inspiration from a young woman named Stephanie. Can we have Stephanie come up? Can you all see Stephanie? Stephanie is one of the most incredible young women I have ever met. Stephanie is a performer. Stephanie has a video that should go viral where she, in her blonde wig, is singing what?
Proud Mary.
Left a good job in the city. You can't tell Stephanie that she can't be someone. You can't tell Stephanie that she isn't someone. You can't tell Stephanie that you've done all the work you can do, and so therefore you don't have to continue to work for Stephanie. You can't tell Stephanie that every aspiration and dream that she has can't come true. Just like years ago, when my mother couldn't get any place, and parents before her couldn't be, we who have toiled in the field have created the inroads and remembered to reach back, to reach up, and to pay attention to people who you think might be marginalized in your businesses, in your corporations, in your offices. Remember, this was not won easily. It was not given freely. The power that you have is the power that you have not only to uplift ourselves and our particular businesses, but to make sure that Stephanie and all of the Stephanies have their dreams come true. There's no better dream maker than the people in this room to make that happen. There's no more power brokers than you powerful women and the men who support them to make sure that the next generation grows and thrives and builds and has the responsibility to make sure that women's voices are heard, women's voices are respected, women's voices are trusted, and that women's representation is a given, not an anomaly, not an exception. That people like me who have made the first will not be the last. And people like Stephanie will have shoulders broad enough and strong enough for the next generation to stand upon. So thank you so much for the time. And